take your Greek New Testaments and turn to the book of Mark, chapter 9. And we'll do a little translating. And maybe some parsing and a little bit of using stuff we know about. All right? Anybody like to try verse number 1 for us?
Sure. I'll try.
All right, give it a try.
And he said to them, "Truly I say to you that there are some standing here which may not taste death until they should see the kingdom of God having come in power."
Okay, that's good. All right. And he was saying to them, "Truly, truly, I say to you that there are certain ones here, certain ones of those standing here, who..." No, that's este carton.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Who will not taste death until they see the kingdom of God coming in power. Now, Stacy translated it with he actually managed to translate the intranslatable there, so we could see he knew what was going on in Greek. But some of those things you don't want to translate.
What is? Oh, I'm sorry.
So the on, the on is going with the subjunctive of idos. Now you can see that's adon, the aorist principal part of harao, without the augment, right? So we don't want the augment for a subjunctive, so we have an aorist subjunctive happening there. And also, who will not taste, and that's a subjunctive too. And you have ume, which is an emphatic negative there. All right. Now, let's see if we can see any articles here. We see an article at the end of the first line there, which is tone. Those standing. What use of the article would you say there?
It's with the.
Okay, it's an article used with the participle to make it adjectival. And it's not only adjectival, but it's substantival, right? So we have a functional use of the article there to indicate that the participle is an adjectival, substantival participle. All right, that's the functional side of it. What about the semantic side of it?
Is there abstract use in it?
Well, I don't think standing is very abstract. I think I would call it a simple identification, I suppose, if you're going to have a
Kingdom of God?
The
The kingdom of God? Simple identification?
No, I'm talking about tone with tone este katon. Now, what case is este katon? No blank looks allowed here. We know this.
Genitive.
Genitive, right? Now, what kind of genitive is this?
Let's go with descriptive.
No, you abused that one that time. That's the abuse. Or I'm offended.
Is it attributive?
Genitive of reference.
Nope. Come on, somebody's got to get the QB doll.
Este canton.
Translate it. I say to you that there are certain ones of those standing here.
Reference.
Apposition?
Well, you keep going, you're going to get it eventually.
Oh, it's
Association.
Don't make me come over there.
Purgative.
There you go.
What a nerd.
Because certain ones, those standing is a group out of which the certain ones come, right?
Where is that even?
48.
Why is it whole lot?
Wholative. Those standing are the whole, certain ones are the part that come out of the whole.
Interesting.
It's a good thing we had this meeting today.
Well, we're forgetting, so.
I guess you forgot that, now you're gonna, there's one step closer to knowing. Partitive genitive.
Because that's what their whole lot is doing.
And you guys had your cheat sheet. All right. All right. Let's see. There's another article there. Seeing the kingdom of God. Specifying or generalizing?
Specify.
Specifying. Okay. Or identification. Right. All right. But can you be more specific then? Is it just a simple identity, or can you be more specific? I mean, we've hit the big one if we say it's a specifying use of the article, right? We've hit the big one. But can we be more specific?
Well, let's check the flow chart.
Don't go through the flow chart, we gotta go home.
How about well known? Or one of a kind, probably.
One of a kind, there's not just one kingdom, but it's the kingdom of God, so it is the best kingdom.
Go ahead.
The best kingdom.
Excellent.
So I would say it's par excellence.
I was gonna go with the celebrity.
Well,
There's some subjectivity to this. Would there be disagreement between the scholars on what it would be?
Yeah, but there probably won't be any books on that one because it doesn't make a whole lot of difference.
That's what I'm gonna do.
dissertation on it.
Yeah, somebody will do a dissertation. I think, to me, that's fairly straightforward, though. That is, because you know, this is not the only kingdom, right?
With the of God after kingdom though, does not take it out of the realm of the par excellence one, because it's narrowing it down so that there's only one of it.
No, but the rule about the head noun having an article, and so does the noun and the genitive applies here. You know this, right? So the article to, is there because of that rule, right? And because it says of God, it makes it definite. You know, just the of God part makes it definite, because it's not a neo kingdom; it's the kingdom. It's the kingdom of God. So in English, we'd have to use God, and there's a here in Greek. But if you want to be more specific than that, I think that, of all the kingdoms, and there are more than one, so it's not a unique thing. This would be the best one. But the funny thing is, I don't think the article so much tells you that as the context tells you that about the article. So what are we learning? What are we learning from the article there?
context.
So I'm not sure that really helps us much exegetically, because we don't learn that from the article to begin with, right? So, what does the article tell us? It affirms the fact that it's definite, it's specifying its particular kingdom, that kind of thing. And it's not, we're not talking about a quality here, we're talking about something concrete, right? As opposed to a quality. Sometimes it's interesting to notice what you're not talking about.
So you're saying that it's just a structural reality of the language?
Partly. That would be true of the second article, the one that goes with ooh, certainly. Now, again, the genitive, well, let's see, what case is tain basileon in, and how is it used?
It's usually with direct object.
How about to theou?
Genitive of possession?
Genitive of possession, okay. And then what about enduname? Dative.
Preposition.
With the preposition.
You could say dative with preposition, but in many cases that's a cop-out. Here it would be useful to know,
I don't feel
coming
Dative of man.
in power.
Oh.
Is it means?
Manner.
Is it manner?
Adverbial, isn't
Adverbial.
Sphere.
Instrument.
Is it location? First of all, I want to ask, is it dative, locative, or instrumental? So when we talk about location, coming in a location of power, or an instrument, means or manner or something like that?
I'm going to go with instrument.
I would say probably instrument, and it's probably manner. But that becomes an interesting exegetical question there. You know, what does this say about the coming of the kingdom of God? Well, I almost said, what's it say about how the kingdom of God is coming, but then that assumes the answer, manner, right? But I think that's what it's answering. It's answering how the kingdom of God is going to come. So you can almost preach that, right? It's not going to come, you know, as a whimper. It's going to come very noticeably. Okay.
Interesting that they have that has come, it's in the perfect aspect of tense.
Pardon? What?
It's in the perfect tense, has come, till the kingdom of God has come.
Right, that's right. The kingdom of God, having come in power. To see the kingdom of God, having come in power.
Perfect participle.
All right, who wants to tackle verse number 2?
Well, I'll get it.
All right.
And after 6 days, Jesus is taking Peter and Jacob and John and bringing them to a high mountain.
Well, but he brought him up, right?
Yes, bringing them up to a high mountain all by themselves. And he was changed before them.
Okay, very good. Okay, so after 6 days, Jesus, Jesus, what kind of use of the ha are you going to look for there? Could be use of the article with the nominative subject, could be use of the article with a proper name.
Jesus is almost always a common goal.
All right, what about ton petron? Same thing, right? And Jane. And John. We will allow you your one rebellion.
You're the one that's following the masses. No offense, Dr.
You've
Stanley.
been led astray.
Yeah, but I named my child Jane.
Oh.
Oh.
Does he spell it Jacob?
I didn't really, I'm sorry.
So you named it after a king instead of an apostle?
Hey, Cameron.
Did you guys all go to the same school or something? What is this? You probably carry around the red Bibles too. All right, now there's an interesting lack of article. So he took them up into a high mountain by themselves. Now that's an interesting lack of the article. So what is not important here?
Which mountain is
Yeah, the particularity of the mountain.
Probably on purpose.
Yeah,
So they don't go back and make those 3 tents.
yeah, well, yeah, that's a good point. And it seems like it's a mountain, and then the adjective high, see? What is important here? Not the particular mountain, but what's important here, probably.
They were on top, away,
That was a
solitude.
way of everybody, but it seems like there is a quality that's being stressed here, right? So, mountain is not a qualitative noun, it's a very concrete noun, right? But when you put high with it, and without the article and all kind of stuff, it seems to me that the thing that is important to the narrative here is the highness, right? So they're in a high place. Well, high places are places of worship for one thing. Right? I mean, Moses went up on the mountain and received the 10 Commandments. Right? So it's mountain, that's important, but it seems to me that the height, which goes along with mountains, you understand, it seems to me that the height of the experience is important, and that's the lack of the article there. So those two together, high mountain, those two words together, seem to me to kind of work together as a qualitative idea of height or highness, and that's what they stress, yes.
I'm seeing what you're saying, because even the higher you go, obviously, the more time and the more effort you have to put into it. So it wasn't just some, let's walk behind this hill. It was going off into putting in quite a bit of effort.
Yeah, so maybe it illustrates the significance of the event. Yeah, it's a good point. All right, verse 3. Okay.
I didn't do very well because so many of these words I wasn't sure how they work together. So
Well, this is kind of a hard one.
I'll give it my
Give it a seminary try.
I'll give it the NIV college try. Here we go. And his clothes became very glittery
Shiny.
and shiny.
He was a televangelist.
They were radiant. No, I don't think evangelism's mine. They were very radiant, glistening, white, shiny. They were very much exceedingly white. And such as a bleacher.
We prefer the term fuller.
Okay.
A fuller.
A fuller.
Launderer.
A launderer.
Now we know where they got Fuller Seminary.
One that makes things white. None of them, such as upon the earth, would be able to make these so
Yes, okay, very good.
white.
All right, we'll take that. For the tape, this is getting late and we're trying to be serious. All right, very nice. What would we do with the article ta himatia?
It is an article
Specifying.
definitely specifying his clothes.
Put in there already makes it definite. It's almost like a double that.
What does? Yeah, that's right.
It would already be definite.
It's possessive, so it's definite already. So it's a specifying use of the article. Probably just our simple identification here. What about tes geis, the earth?
Oh, that is. It's qualitative or indefinite
I think it's definite.
or definite. Could be definite.
I think it's specifying use again, or the individualizing article, but under that category that works real well with it.
Well known.
Huh?
Well
Well, the earth is pretty well known, but there's an even better one than that.
Abstract.
No, the earth is pretty concrete.
Simple identification.
No, I don't think so. Aren't you guys just gonna smack your forehead when you see this?
Well known.
I don't think so.
Pointing out.
How about monadic?
Okay.
I'm gonna go with unique.
The earth is fairly unique.
Yeah.
You guys really haven't got the hang of this syntax thing yet, do you?
It's really just week 2, basically.
It's just, yeah, that's right. We've only been at this a short time. That's okay. That's why it's a whole. That's why it's a whole trimester long.
You're getting there.
Oh goodness! Forgive me for laughing at you, but
With us.
yeah, I'm not laughing with you. I'm laughing at you. All right. Who wants to try verse number 4?
If you're gonna laugh at us, no.
I know that's that's the trouble with that, isn't it?
He's just laughing near you, that's all.
Yes. Yeah, you gotta get the right preposition going there. I'm not laughing at you, I'm just laughing near you.
I'll do it.
Okay, brave man.
I haven't said anything yet. And he appeared with them, Elijah with Moses, and they were talking with Jesus.
Yeah, that's a short one. Okay. Ophthe, appeared. That's good. That's the verb. What's the subject of that verb?
There.
Understood?
Twice.
They were seen by them. They appeared to them.
Pardon?
Themselves, and it's
How?
reflection, isn't it? What's the question?
What's the subject of the verb ophthe?
Twice.
How about Elias?
Third person plural.
That's right. Now third person singular.
Singular.
And Elijah appeared to them. Right? With Moses. And they were talking with Jesus. I want to know what kind of case and function autois is.
Data?
Direct object.
To them.
With them.
It's not a direct object because appeared is not a transitive verb in a passive way. I mean,
It's a passive.
Association then?
well, if you think of a passive transform, if this sentence were active, maybe he showed Elijah to them object. So Elijah, the direct object, becomes the subject of the sentence, and what was in the active sentence, the indirect object, remains in the dative case. So that's probably what's going on.
That would be a dative of indirect.
Yeah, I think you could call it that.
So Moses did make it the promised land.
Well, yeah. So soon, Mouse, right? What case is that, do you think?
Dative.
Okay, it's dative of,
Soon.
it's dative with soon, so the preposition, we can do better than that. Dative with association, probably. I would call it an instrumental association. And they were talking with Jesus. What case and function is that?
To toe. You see? What's the
Data of association.
I think so. Dative of association. Why is the article there with Jesus?
Maybe David in reference.
No, they were talking with reference to Jesus. They weren't talking about Jesus. They were talking to Jesus. Well, I think it's there because it's of the proper name, basically. Not really as a function marker. I mean, I guess maybe you could call that a function marker because it's a proper name, but this is not really marking a grammatical function, other than the fact that we have a proper name. All right. Well, you picked up only one article too. That was a good verse to pick. Anyway. Okay, who wants to tackle number 5?
I'll do it.
Okay.
And Peter asked Jesus, saying, Rabbi, it is good for us to be here, and so let us make 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah.
Okay.
Did anyone close?
How do you translate apokryphes?
Well, let's parse it.
Doesn't it come from?
Peter responding says to Jesus.
Oh, that's right. It's not asking, it's answering.
Yeah, and that's what I was concentrating on with that. That's an aorist passive participle, isn't it?
I translated it. Yeah.
So, and after, and this is one of those deals where, it's just kind of idiomatic. So you probably wouldn't even translate that with after, but, and after answering, you just said, in answering, he says to Jesus, Rabbi, it is good for us to be here, and let us make 3 tabernacles for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah. Push Jesus
I didn't
first.
think they were making a temple for him.
Hmm?
I
Yes.
didn't think it was the idea of like making a temple for them.
Right, like
To them, like a
they can
temple
work
to
in
them.
one.
Yeah, I mean, we're honoring them, but that's to their advantage. Right?
Or is it a date of possession?
Like, could be. And you can see that it could be all of these things wrapped up together. I mean, if you're making a tabernacle to something, right? In one sense, it belongs to them.
Is there any significance that it says it's good that we are here, and so we should make our home here? Make our
No, I don't think it has. It's just good for us to see this. We really gained a perspective here. We gained some perspective.
What's building for?
In verse 6.
And I don't know that the perspective he thought he gained was that great. But it is interesting that he puts Jesus before those Old Testament prophets, which maybe, that's the major good thing he learned. Now they're up on a mountain, the high places, you see that all the time in the Old Testament, where they worship, So maybe he's thinking, here's a high place, here's a place to worship.
How did they recognize Moses and Elijah?
Well,
They,
maybe they were talking with Jesus.
And he
Yeah,
said,
name
hey
tags.
Moses, hey Elijah.
Name tags.
Yeah, it could be.
were Peter and Jacob and John talking with them too, or were they just kind of standing there with their mouths open?
I would imagine they were standing there with their mouths open because they didn't say it was a great conversation. They said it was good for us to be here.
Right, but then in the later part of verse 6 says they all were terrified. So even though Peter was just talking, they all were terrified.
Right.
I still don't understand the apokryphos.
No, it's just narrative kind of stuff. He answered. It's just the narrative idiom. He answered and said.
Because usually I think
But this
that-
is a little bit different than the form normally.
yeah.
But
Verse 6 will tell you, he really didn't know what to do. He just had to answer.
he answered
Peter
Jesus
said,
and said, but there really wasn't a question.
That's
So
what-
Peter's just kind of like he's giving an answer when there wasn't a question. He'd have been better off to kept his mouth shut, really. Right?
Well, does it further that, because he heard them discussing, right? And maybe felt like he should contribute to the conversation.
Yeah, he might be able to say that.
Hey guys, hey guys.
But I'm sure they weren't saying, "What do you think, Peter?" It was probably more like, "Man, that was something else when that finger came down."
What would Jesus and Moses and Elijah be talking about?
Yeah, probably when the finger came down and wrote on the tablets. I don't know.
Clothes were really white, yeah.
And was that the first time Moses and Elijah saw Jesus?
Probably not.
Fishing.
Well, Jesus as the incarnate Son of God, as incarnate, probably. Yeah.
So is
I
that
mean, I don't know what they see from
Maybe they're like, man, you look good as a human.
Is that the preacher two witnesses?
Isn't that flew the pits? I don't know. Man, I don't know. What were you asking?
I was wondering if that's the future two witnesses there.
Oh, I kind of connected that one, yeah. But I can't be too dogmatic about this.
I think this.
Sweet.
All right. Let me see. Do we have any significant article usage in there? Boy, this is really any articles in there. Okay, let's go on to verse 6 and
Peter.
let's see. Go ahead, somebody with verse 6. There's no same person. Go ahead with verse 6 because that's a short verse.
For he did not know what.
Kind of idiomatic. He did really. I think it says he did not know what he was saying.
Okay. I'm like, he did not know what he was answering?
Yeah, that's
That's
the
a jump.
What you should say?
Yeah.
What he should say. Or
Should say.
he became very afraid.
So they became that plural.
Oh,
They became really
sorry.
afraid.
They became very afraid.
All right. There's still not an article there, so we're going to have to put you on hold for an article. All right. Go ahead, number 7.
Oh. Let's see what words here. Okay. And a cloud came and overshadowed them, and there was a voice out of the cloud son listen to him or hear him.
Okay, very nice. Now, you translated that in fine English, but what kind of word is episkiazusa?
Compound word.
Yes, it's a compound verbal root sort of
That would
thing.
be, third, or something.
Yeah. No, it's participle.
Is it?
It is indeed.
Is it-
So, a cloud came overshadowing them, would be how you could translate that. Now, it wouldn't be bad English to say a cloud came and overshadowed them, would it?
Yeah, but I didn't catch that.
That's a feminine participle, right?
Yeah, what?
Maybe that's what this guy
Because cloud is feminine. Very good, very nice. Okay, overshadowing them. What's the case and use of altois there?
They were location in the cloud, or the cloud in Canaan. I don't know.
Disadvantage?
Cloud came overshadowing them.
Man.
Manner.
We're thinking of the good one.
Think grammar. Grammar rocks.
What are you asking?
Grammar crackers. Right?
What is the use of the dative altois?
Indirect object.
Direct object. That's right. Dative of direct objects. Direct object of the participle. Yeah, overshadows them. Okay, good. And the voice came out of the cloud. Ah, there's an article. What use of the article is that? Please get this. The pressure's on.
Anaphoric.
There you go. Do you see it? Okay, this is classic anaphoric use of the article. And a cloud came overshadowing them, and a voice came out of the cloud. Right, now, in the first case, a cloud came. That's indefinite, right? Just a cloud. We're not concerned about the identity of the cloud, what credentials it has. It's just a cloud doing what clouds do, right? But when the voice came, we want you to know that it's out of the cloud that overshadowed them, right? So now it's a particular cloud. So an anaphoric use of the word. All right. This is my son, ha huios mu. What use of the article is that? The beloved. This is the son, the beloved. So let's look at the first ha with huios. What use is that? Generalizing or specifying? Specifying.
Either monadic
Or individualizing.
say it's gotta be the son. It's monadic.
Yes,
Or is it deictic?
pointing article.
Okay, it could be deictic. It very much you probably say that. And here's a case when it's probably more than one thing, because it's probably also par excellence, right? Because God has many sons in that sense, right? But Jesus is among sons unique. Right? As a matter of fact, the monogenes means the one-of-a-kind son. So I would say he is in the category of sons, at the top of that category. In some sense, unique as well. But I think, God has many sons.
Can you explain how it could be deictic?
Deictic, because
This one.
because he's right there when God is saying that, when the Father is saying.
Oh, so he's referring. It's like
This is the Son
I
of me, the beloved.
But because it's so specific, because of the
Well, because it's there.
Circumstances
It's on the
right
spot
there.
when it's said.
yeah. Oh,
Right?
nice.
So it's like, now put your cup on the table. The table has to be there at that point. Okay, what about the article with agapetas? There is a functional thing there, yeah, puts the adjective in the attributive position, doesn't it? All right, so there you go. So, I don't know if you can go a whole lot further with that. Okay, let's start over and do verse 8.
And suddenly, looking around, they no longer saw anyone but Jesus alone himself.
All right. Let's take a stab at the baton there.
Article is a simple identification, individualizing article.
I think it is the individualizing article or the specifying article, however you want to word that. But also, you again, as we've had it over and over, use the proper meaning. So it's what you're really saying is that it's the use of the article there is fairly insignificant because it's just kind of like filling a slot that you would expect.
You wouldn't translate it, that's.
No, not in English. Sometimes when you're able to put a category on something, it really shows that it's not significant. Right? Really, exegetically, I'm saying. It's grammatically significant. It's there and should be there to be right, but it's not exegetically significant. So if somebody's going to make a big deal out of the fact that ton is used with Yesun right there, they're making a big deal out of something you shouldn't make a big deal of.
Exactly.
It's like if somebody made a big deal of the fact that said he answered and said, he preached a whole sermon on the fact that he didn't just say it, he answered and said it. That's ridiculous, isn't it? Because it's just an idiom that's used in narrative and throughout.
Because you should always be ready to give an answer.
Well, that's right. That's where that comes from.
Wow. Peter was definitely.
Peter's the one that wrote that.
Yeah.
And he was ready to give an answer.
He was practice what he is going to preach in the
Makes
future.
it
There's Sunday school for this week.
All right.
Send me your notes, will you?
Verse 9, will you?
While they were coming down from the mountain, he commanded them that they should tell nobody the things they saw
All right.
until the Son of Man should rise from the dead.
All right, I'll take that. What kind of construction do you have at the beginning of that verse?
Genitive participle thing.
Right.
Can't remember what it's
Genitive
called.
absolute.
There you go.
Genitive absolute, not a paraphrastic. Genitive absolute. Well, you have a participle in the genitive and noun in the genitive, and the construction is grammatically disconnected from the sentence. All right. So if you were diagramming that, you just have to have it on its own little line that they're being happy what it says. It's logically connected to the sentence, obviously, but it isn't grammatically connected. So, them coming down from the mountain, literally, right? I like what you did, while they were coming down from the mountain, or when they came down from the mountain, or, however you're going to do it, after they came down from the mountain. It's present tense, but Jesus commanded them. All right, let's see, 2 with mountain. What use of the article is that?
Uniform.
I could kiss you. All right. I won't.
Good.
What use of that?
Okay, what use of ha with huios do we have here?
Par excellence.
I think so. I think that's what it is. He is a son of man, like we are all son of man, son of Adam, but at the same time he is son of man in a unique way again. So that's good. What about the 2 there with anthropou? What use of the article is that?
Position? You're asking about the article or the anthropou?
I'm asking about the article.
Simple
I
identification.
think so. You see where you're going, but I don't think so. I think the genitive, you're talking about part of the genitive, so,
Yeah.
which is the function of anthropo, but I think that's more of a genitive relationship.
Well,
Because it is, it is, one of a group, but I don't think that's the point. It's son of man. I think the point is not that it's one of a group, but I think the point is that it is,
well, I mean, like unique from the, whatever that chart was, we got through.
all right, well, here, there's a functional use of the article here, which is that the head noun is an article, and the noun and the genitive after it has to have an article. Remember that?
Apolius is canon.
Polonius, yes.
Too.
Yeah, right.
And there's an absence of an article in that one.
Yeah, but that's got a preposition before it, so that doesn't really go with huios.
Right.
But I think there's a semantic use of two as well, the son of man. Is that a specifying or a generalizing use of the article?
Specifying.
I don't think so. I think it's generalizing.
So,
And in fact, probably emphasizing quality, right?
So it's like a qualitative.
So it's kind of a way of him saying he is human.
categorical.
Does that make sense?
I find it ironic that he calls himself that when he didn't have a human father.
I wonder if it's an allusion to Daniel.
I think it is.
I do too.
Is there any significance that he said it as he came down after being transfigured before? They see him as God.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. This is the first time in Mark this is used. That would be an interesting thing to look up. Because maybe this is an allusion to the fiery furnace when like a son of man was walking among them. Don't I have that straight? Don't I have the Daniel story straight?
Well, he wants to emphasize his humanness because they just saw a manifestation of his deity. in the
Well, I think careful. Moses and Elijah were there.
Yeah.
Were they deity?
Were
Did
they
their shine?
transfigured though? I don't know.
Well, I think so.
Did
I think
shine?
they weren't transfigured. They were already in that state. I don't know if their clothes were so shiny.
Were they glittery?
I think so, because they probably had righteous robes in heaven. They were wearing white robes.
Sequence.
Intentionally white.
I don't know what the Hebrew says, but English Standard Version has Daniel as son of the gods.
Which version?
In the English Standard, in the fiery furnace.
That's interesting.
I don't know, does it say son of man?
Well, there is Son of Man does come from Daniel.
I thought that was in one of his visions.
I think it is too, but I'm not remembering specifically, and I don't want to say it because I'm on camera. And I won't make a mistake. All right.
It's in Daniel 7. I saw in the night visions, and behold, with the clouds of heaven there came one like a son of man. And he came to the Ancient of Days and was presented before him, and to him was given dominion and glory, that all peoples, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom one that shall not be destroyed.
Interesting. So maybe we do have an allusion to Daniel here. That's very interesting. Okay. I think I like it. Okay, verse 10.
Well, here I go again. And the word seized them.
Okay, now how are you going to parse ekrateson? We know it's from krateo.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Oh, you do too.
Well,
Okay, let's take it apart. If it's from krateo,
Mm-hmm.
Look at the end of the word, look at the beginning of the word. What do you suppose we have in the beginning of the word?
Well, I'm seeing the epsilon there, and I'm thinking it's a past tense aorist.
Okay, it's epsilon, it's probably an augment, so it means it's past tense in the indicative mood. And one option would be aorist. Let's look at our endings. What happened? Krateo, what happened to the epsilon?
Oh, it was changed
It was
into the.
It was lengthened
That's right.
into an eta, which is what happens before a temporal infix. And sigma looks a lot like a temporal infix. So what endings have a sigma temporal infix and an alpha coupling vowel? Sigma alpha. I think I remember sa, se, samen,
Sticking with aorist,
sa,
yep.
san. I remember that as being the aorist active indicative.
Yep.
So,
Third plural.
Third plural. So that's a third plural, aorist active indicative, third plural. So that cannot be, ton logon cannot be the subject of that for two reasons.
Absolutely.
One is that it's singular, the other is that it's accusative. Okay. So, now back up and take another run at that.
Okay. So, let's try this again. They were seized by the word.
Okay, you just made it passive. It's active.
I don't know how to do that. It's too late.
Well, back up a little bit. Back up a little bit and run at it a little bit faster.
I'm really tired.
Anybody have any cheese?
And they held fast to the word, so it's
Okay.
accusative, and they held fast to the word discussed among
Yeah, they
themselves.
held-
All right, how about they grabbed a hold of the word?
They held the word to themselves.
They grabbed a hold of the word.
Talking amongst themselves, with themselves.
That's right. Even debating or arguing, right? So probably stronger than talking. They grabbed a hold of the word, debating toward themselves. You know, debate, and we had in English we say debating with one another, right?
What it is to rise from the dead.
Exactly. Or what is,
The resurrection.
probably better, what is the from the dead to rising? What is the rising from the dead or something? What is to raise from the dead? However you want to look at that. All right. So that's interesting. So they seized on that idea, right? That's the thing. They kind of got stuck on that word. And we're not talking about a specific word. It's almost like, you know, as they say in the black church when you preach a sermon, you know, that was really a word. Or the thing even, and logos could be the thing, you know, the statement you could say. They seized on the statement maybe would be a good word to do it. All right. What is ta ek necron anastenai? Now, what is the use of ta there? Depends on how you're going to understand this. What is?
I think it's a reference back to what Jesus said.
Well, it is, but you have to have a specific word that, and we do. Let's see, the Son of Man from the dead will arise. But you think of the anaphoric use, but that's not fitting here.
Okay.
Is it, does logos refer to like individual word, or is it more the concept?
It's the statement.
Yeah, the statement.
Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, that's what I was
Okay, are you thinking of the ton logon thing? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, we might be talking about two different things.
Oh, where are you at?
I've been talking about the ta that's toward the end of the verse, but let's start with the ton logon. Is that what you were thinking about, Cyrus?
Yeah, I was really trying to figure out.
Because we were talking about two different articles there. So.
Okay.
Okay. So you're thinking about ton logon. So
Because that doesn't refer back to what he was
the
saying.
word.
Because that was actually, I had a few that I had real questions about how to translate, and this was one of them.
Yeah. Well, usually in anaphoric use, you have the same noun. you know, in the previous context. And this isn't the same now, but logon, the expression is up there. I hesitate to even say it's anaphorikes there, but it does refer back to, it is a specifying use of that phrase, that conversation that Jesus had, that expression that he used. All right. But let's talk about the use of ta. What is to rise from the dead?
That's the quotation one that they
You know,
had. The substantive.
it's just indicating the prepositional
quotation.
phrase.
I'm gonna go with functional.
No, it isn't. It isn't part of a prepositional phrase.
No, I mean, it's separating it. Because it's a prepositional statement.
It doesn't really show it on our cheat sheet there.
Is it the one on page 106? Where it was the quote from Psalms and Ephesians?
As a function marker.
Above that.
Yes. With positive statements and quotations. That's what it is, exactly. That's exactly what it is. And so it's making this whole thing to rise from the dead as a unit. What is this? That is to rise from the dead. So it's kind of making that work as a whole unit together. Let's see. Well, yeah, Ephesians 4:9 is a similar example. Where did you see the Psalms thing?
Oh, that's the
Oh,
explanation
although
of Ephesians.
only one word in the quotation of Psalms is quotation of Psalm 68:18. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's good. All right, Cyrus, I agree with you. It is getting late. All right, who wants to be?
Who wants to be? Let's move
Who needs to
on.
be next?
Take the hill.
Oh, it's almost time to quit, isn't it?
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. We should be done by now.
Amen. True.
No, we gotta go through twice, so who's next?
I
You next? Oh man, okay, rip through it.
And they asked him, saying, why do the scribes say that it is necessary that Elijah comes first, or must come first?
Okay, good. And probably the article with the scribes would be identifying well-known, right? The scribe. All right, next verse.
And he said to them, let's see, on the one hand, Elijah must come first. Wait, Elijah coming first. Is that too right?
It's restoring.
Restoring all,
Mm-hmm.
and how's it written?
Perfect.
About the Son of Man that
That's from
Oh,
test.
okay, all tests and
Many.
glory. Oh, he must suffer.
You suffer many things and be rejected.
Rejected.
What use of the article is the first word of verse 12?
Is that first one of that?
That's right, it's
Yeah.
used as a pronoun. It uses a
Yeah.
personal pronoun. Yeah, that's the subject of the sentence, right? The express subject of the sentence.
That was a soft call.
But I say to you that Elijah has come, and they did to him whatever they wanted, just as it is written about him. Okay, Mark? No, we did 14 and 15, let's do 16.
And, we asked them, who do you or who was he?
Try Y.
Or why?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the disputing word.
Yeah, argue.
Just debate.
Oh, okay, that's that one. Why are you debating with them?
Yeah, that's right. What, keep going.
And, they answered him? Or is that?
No.
I get this
Or
right.
is there any kind of-
The
He
one,
answered them,
Because basically
Peace.
one out of, or, oh, okay, one out of the crowd answered them, teacher. I don't know what that is.
That's from Pharaoh, actually.
Pharaoh also
Ra.
Ka, which is an aorist principal part, it's a capital first aorist.
You know, what does it mean?
I brought.
Oh, I brought my son to you. He has an unclean spirit.
Dumb spirit,
Dumb spirit.
evil spirit. Okay, verse 17. And one of the crowd answered. All right, now, first of all, what use of the genitive is aklu? Partitive genitive. Do you all see that? One.
Part.
What use of the article is to?
And before.
And for. Bring back. Bring back to the crowd. Teacher, I brought my son, Han. I'll tell you just a simple identification of the son to you. Okay, well, we worked harder to make sure that's tonight.
Alright. Got it. It's a wrap.
Are we clear?